pay rates. So we're going to click on Setup, and we're going to go down to pay rates. So pay rates have to do with actually paying the reporters. So again, I already have some set up, so what I'll do first is I will click Search. You have the ability in RB8 to either be percentage-based for the reporter pay or flat rate-based. It's your choice. In my example, I've set up a bunch of different percentage-based pay rates, and I've set up one that's flat rate-based. You have the ability to set up different pay rate groups. Okay, so maybe you have some standard pay, or maybe you have reporters out there that get their own pay rate, or have their own pay rates, multiple. So you can create more pay rate groups, again, in the Code Manager. So again, under Tools, Code Manager, which I already have open right here, you actually have pay rate group. Simply right-click in New, and just type in whatever code name you want to give it. Then you would, of course, save and close. Let's go back to pay rates real fast. Like I said, you have the ability to be flat rate based or percentage based. So let's create one. Let's create another flat rate based pay rate table. So let's say I have medical and technical pay, which is different from my standard pay because it's a tougher job. So I can simply to create a new rate, right click anywhere and select new. Again, just like your billing rate, the first thing you'll do is select the pay rate group. In my example, I only have one, so I'll leave it alone. And we'll give the pay rate a name. So I can say medical/tech pay rate. Okay. Again, make the name something that's easy for your biller, for your staff. Again, nobody sees this name but you guys. It's for your eyes only. Make it something easy so somebody knows specifically what that rate is. Okay. Once you give it a name, click Save. And again, just like the billing rates, once you click Save on the pay rates automatically inherit everything that you set up in the Service Items Master. But the differences here are, if you'll notice the columns, there's no billing rate column because, of course, this is only dealing with the pay side of things. Just like in the billing rate, all you do is open up each individual item, and you're simply going to specify the pay rate for that particular item for that pay instance, for that pay rate that you're setting up. So in this case, for my own one, for medical technical, if I paid them out at $3 a page, and I would put 3 here. Same thing, go down to copy, open this up, and I can put 175. Save and close. So forth and so on. Just open up each item that they get paid for and specify an actual pay amount. Of course, anything else that they don't get paid for, just leave it at 0, so RB will never calculate any pay for them. All right, so an example of what one of my percentage-based pay rates looks like, I'll open the 75% up, and you can see exactly how I have it set up. I only set up items or put percentages in here for the items that they actually get paid on. Anything else that they don't get paid for, I left it alone. So that's pay rates. After you set up your pay rates, one other thing you can actually do to help with the billing process is you can tie pay rates to your individual reporters. Let me go click on my resources function here, and I'm going to open up Susan. I have Susan Lloyd. So if I double click, go into Susan Setup, I'm going to click on the Pay Info tab. One of the fields in here for each resource that they have is pay rate. So one of the things you can do, if you pull this drop down, you can physically tie a pay rate to the resource. Now, one of the reasons why you may do this is because, hey, what if Susan gets paid at 75% all the time? That's her pay rate. Well, it'd make it a lot easier if your biller didn't have to choose it every time. Well, that's exactly what this is for. Whatever pay rate you tie to the resource will automatically be selected at the time of billing. So RB will know by default what rate to pay them out at. Even if you have a resource that maybe gets paid out at 3 different pay rates, but she has a normal one that she gets paid out at most of the time, I would still choose the pay rate here just so your biller still doesn't have to choose it, 75% of the time. They can still override at the time of billing and choose a different pay rate if they need to. So that should really save your biller some time if you're not doing that already. The next thing we're going to look at under Setup is called Billing Sets. Okay, now in RB, we designed a way for you to be able to go through your billing process and actually add all of your billable services for an order with a single click of a button. And that's by utilizing Billing Sets. So instead of you physically saying or adding onto the invoice 0 and 1 with exhibits, with some kind of per diem, with a condensed, with a FedEx delivery. From a billing set, you can say, okay, give me my all-in-one billing set, and it automatically comes with those things. That's exactly what a billing set is. It'll save your biller a lot of time. I'm going to click search here. I already have some set up. So basically, you're going to give a billing set a name. Now, when you want to create a new one, you simply right-click and select new. So the billing set name that you give it, that's, again, what your biller will see. So they'll know what kind of billing set it is. So in my example, I have copy, all-in-one, video conference. But let's say I do workers' comp work, so I can do O&2s. So I can actually create a billing set that says O&2. After you give the billing set a name, what you're going to do is click Save. And now down at the bottom, this is where you're going to add all of your billable services that are included in this billing set that you're creating. Just click New. You're going to select your first item. So if this was the O&2 billing set, I would choose Original. Okay, come down to default units, input 1. I usually always make the default unit 1 because, of course, if you're putting it in a billing set and at some point you're going to add it to an order, well, there's going to be at least one unit of it, right? So go ahead and do that. Save and close. That item will appear. Click New again. I'll choose Copy with Original. I'll put 2 units here because this will make up O&2. Save and close, and so on. Add every item that you feel should be included in this billing set. As you're choosing your items, it's okay to put items in here that you don't use all the time because your biller will have the ability at the time of choosing from these billing sets to simply uncheck items that they don't want to include for that billing instance. So it's a lot easier to add items to your billing set that even you may use 50% of the time because it's a lot faster just to uncheck something, a couple things that you're not using, than it is to not have enough things in here and have to add them one by one. So I can add O&2, exhibits, so forth and so on. Just keep on adding. Basically, you can fill it up. If you do make a mistake, let me add one more item. I'll add production, condensed transcript. Let's say if you actually do make a mistake, one of the things you can do with your miscellaneous charges here when you add them is if you have them in the incorrect order, you can actually highlight it. So say I wanted FedEx actually to appear above condensed transcript. I can highlight FedEx and click upward in sequence. Okay? So keep in mind, whatever order you place them in here, that's the order they will appear on the invoice itself. Save and close.